First, today's topic is all about relationships, right? And since we're talking about how to sustain things, how do you sustain relationships? You know what we'll do? We'll start with one show of hands, okay? How many people have ever been in a marriage here? Show me your hands. How many people have ever been in marriages here? Okay, how many people are single here? Quickly, we'll do. Lovely. How many people in a relationship not married here? See, there's so many different varieties, right? And it's so interesting to understand this. Now, as a habit coach, I find relationships very interesting because what we don't realize is half the time in relationships, we are in habits only. Every time we fight with our partners, don't you all follow the same habit routine? Ye bolta hai, then they bolta hai. So now what we're going to do is we're going to understand relationships and the different avatars of them. So let me quickly start. So Anjali, I'm going to ask you the first question, which is around, please, everyone, you all can keep a mic with you. Pallavi? We're talking about wellness. Where do relationships and connection come in this whole avatar of wellness?
Well, Ashdin, I would like to talk about the longest ever study in human history. It's called the Grand Study, done by Harvard Medical School. It is 85 years and counting, and they studied why some people live healthy and happy and they are centenarians. And the foundation pillar of good health and well-being is relationships. So well-being without relationship doesn't make any sense. I'm a wellness coach, I'm a nutritionist, and I am a doctor of naturopathy. And I have been working with clients for more than 2 decades, helping them with their food and their lifestyle and their exercise. And for 85% of them, nothing could sustain good health because they had horrible relationships. So I started understanding that the first foundation has to be relationships and everything else can add on to it.
So it's interesting, you're saying the foundation is relationships, and on top of that you can add the different aspects of wellness that come into it.
So there was a research done on rats, and these rats were subjected to cholesterol-rich food, which is very bad for them. And a group of rats, so there were a bunch of rats, and a group of rats did not show any signs of unhealthiness, even they were subjected to food that was poison for them. And when they researched, they found out amazingly that the caretaker felt so bad for these poor rats that he would caress them and love them before doing his duty. So it boils down to one thing which we've always known कि मीराबाई को विष का प्याला भी पिलाया तो कुछ नहीं हुआ क्योंकि उनके दिल में प्यार था. So अगर relationships नहीं है बाकी कुछ भी नहीं.
Beautiful. Okay, very interesting. Pallavi, what are the aspects of relationships that we can think of to keep them sustaining the way that we think about it?
I feel authenticity because a relationship often the way we are described the relationship to be in the society is you need to be together and you need to think alike, but we don't think alike. We are 2 different individuals at the end of the day. And no matter how much we say, you will melt in love, प्यार में तुम 2 जिस्म एक जान हो जाओगे, पर ऐसा नहीं, आप 2 जिस्म ही रहते हो, 2 माइंड्स रहते हो, 2 जान रहते हो, और आपके बीच clashes होंगे. So I think appreciating that difference where I tell you, there was a day when I did not want to wear my wedding ring. I was feeling very overwhelming. Like this is my wedding ring, and I took it off for 7 days, and I told my husband, look, I'm taking it off because I feel this is feeling overwhelming. Doesn't mean I don't love you. But I could have done it secretly. But I thought that if I cannot be myself in my marriage, which means there are times I don't want this, which my husband will not like, and yet he respects me and I respect him. I think that's a wonderful way for 2 individuals to coexist together in love.
So a follow-up question on this, how do you build respect in a relationship? How do you build respect in a relationship?
Respect is something where you feel, I will say goody mein to sabko respect hota hai. Matlab, when I love you, you love me, everything is fine. But when there is a clash, when there is a fight, and I talk to the person, how is my tone? Is my tone something where I am looking down on the person? मतलब क्या मेरी आँखें ऐसी हो रही है या क्या ऐसा हो रहा है? मतलब मेरी body language ऐसी हो रही है कि मैं सामने वाले को अपमान कर रही हूँ? Am I insulting the other person just by my facial expression, just by using words? And it has been said in the research, men are men express their this antagonism overtly, women covertly. So हमारे अपने अपने तरीके हैं जहाँ पे we can make the other person feel down, and I feel this is something which I learned is healthy relationship sustains on healthy self-esteem, which means you deserve as much respect as I do for myself. So people can either go two ways in a relationship. They can either take the superior stance where I feel superior to my partner. Like मेरा partner तो गधा है, उसको कुछ नहीं पता है. और I had this client and she said to me, Pallavi, I'm worried when my husband will catch up with my growth. So she was unknowingly taking a superior stance. And the husband was in shame because he thought something is wrong with me. So you need to get out of the superior mindset that I am better than my husband, or I don't matter enough. So you both are equals from that stance.
I think this is such a very beautiful way of thinking about relationships. You know, we're talking about communication, not just the words that you use, the body language that you use. And more importantly, I think, what is the purpose of the relationship that you're in together? If it's just to last as long as possible, the purpose is very different. But if the purpose is to grow together, it's very, very different as well. So the question I wanted to ask you is, in today's day and age, with so many different formats of relationships, et cetera, how are you seeing people navigate all of this?
I think it has begun to happen in the younger generation, not so much in my age, which is the millennials and ahead. But of course, that is a slow change over there. But I think the younger generation has become very aware of, you know, how to conduct themselves in not only in their relationships, but individually as themselves. There's a lot of self-awareness, there's education, and there's exposure, which has happened via, you can talk about social media, you can talk about the internet, and...
Say my profiles.
Yes, absolutely, of course.
Not mine, yours.
I mean, of all our profiles, because we are actually educating through our own personal experiences over here. And I think nothing can compensate for that, because everybody is so individual on their experience of relationships, whichever dynamics it comes to, or whichever age group it comes to, it's very, very different. And you have to understand a lot about yourself first before you actually engage in meaningful relationships. And that does not come overnight, it comes with time. And also being aware of your partner and their so-called triggers, their insecurities, etc., etc. And if you're aware, and if you're obviously zoomed out on your relationship, you can make far more conscious decisions to be respectful, to communicate correctly, and to obviously bring a lot of meaning in nurturing each other. I think that is where it is, and that is happening to the younger generation. So I think it is changing slowly but surely.
So are the younger generation relationships sustainable, or are they more volatile? How are you seeing this?
I think it is definitely not seeming very sustainable as yet. They definitely have the liberty to try out a lot more and not be judged by the same. We were the generations where we were like, oh no, we have to stick to one partner and we have to sustain it and we have to, live it for the lifetime of our, entirety. But the thing is that I feel I have understood that relationships does not necessarily have to be one particular relationship. And it could be several meaningful relationships throughout. What you choose consciously for yourself can be very different, right? You could be the person who would want a long-term relationship and you will pursue that. But some people are okay with saying, I'm okay with having several short relationships throughout my life, and that is also okay. I mean, who decides for, whoever, whatever floats your boat, please go ahead and do it.
I love it. We were just listening to a panel before this on nutrition. Now, there's a beautiful phrase that says that a lion doesn't wake up in the morning and say, Aaj kya khana hai? One thing that it eats. But human beings wake up every morning and say, Aaj kya khana chahiye? Because we have a paradox of choice. Is the same thing happening to us in relationships? Is there a paradox of choice that is taking place, which is where this whole confusion is taking place, just like in our nutrition panel as well? What do you think about the paradox of choice and when it comes to relationships?
So there is a lot of acceptance because we see a lot of variety of way we perceive things, and the world has started becoming a little non-judging, But that also translates and tips the scale on the other side when people are taking advantage of it. So there is always, good and bad to everything. If you understand what you desire, if you know what you are looking for, and if you know yourself, you will know where to go.
Lovely. So let's do the same question for all of you all, okay? According to you, how should people form conscious relationships? And we'll go 1, 2, 3.
Conscious relationship can only start with us becoming conscious about our own identity and who we are authentically. So I think it starts with our relationship with ourselves.
So forming the right kind of relationship with yourself is the starting point for forming a conscious relationship with others. Pallavi?
Okay. So I'll bring the topic of sex here because, sex is something this is my lens also of viewing the relationship. I'm a sexuality coach. So I use this word conscious sexuality. And what I have seen is porn has played a massive role in, deteriorating the quality of intimacy that couples are having. Like porn teaches men to be aggressive and women to be preyed upon. And there is no communication. And I see the bedroom lives are miserable. Like after some 3 or 4 months, couples stop having sex. And physical intimacy is one important part of a relationship. Like personally, I have been in a sexless marriage for 6 years, and that was my inspiration to become a sexuality coach. And once I came out of marriage, I realized 6 years, me and my husband were sleeping on the opposite sides of the bed. We are naturally very distant apart. No matter how much pizza we are eating together, but if we are not snuggling and cuddling and kissing at the end of the day and hugging each other and embracing each other and romancing and, cooing and all that, butterflies in the stomach. And then I realized, I have already drifted from this guy. So I think that was where I started taking sex as seriously, and I want to bring this because this is not openly talked about in India on open stages like this. So when we say conscious relationship, and when we see physical intimacy is an integral part of the relationship. So how do you bring consciousness in sex? Like, are you going to have sex where you see in the movies or porn? Or are you going to have, I often use sex as a meditation. Sex is a meditation where you're honoring your lover's body and your body is being honored by your lover's body. Your lover is not seeing you as an object of lust I had this client, male couple client, 10 years sexless marriage, and the male was saying, morning I get the erection, I get a hard-on, so I need to get a release. And I said, this is not the way to talk, So stop thinking of sex as a release. Start thinking as sex as a body-to-body communication. This is where consciousness comes.
I love it. It's so beautiful because when we think of sex, we often think of it as ownership. I am owning you. You're owning me instead of an amalgamation. It's actually an amalgamation. It's 2 people coming together. And we were talking about porn and it reminded me of, have you all ever read the Kama Sutra? It is a beautiful book. It is so amazing in the way that they talk about it, but we've completely lost the idea of those stories. Same question for you.
So I'm going to do a mix of what she said and what she said. Because at Sassiest, we're dealing with exactly that. Right? Different aspects of a relationship is governed by different things. And sex is a huge aspect of a relationship. And yes, obviously, if you remove the sex out of a relationship, you would be roommates. Really good ones. But yes, viewing it from a sexual perspective or also from an emotional perspective, I feel your sex life, if you are conscious of what you like as a person and what you can express to your partner and what your partner can accept about your fantasies, your touch, your wants, your frequency, these are also factors that govern how your relationship goes ahead. Because sometimes the mismatch in sexual libido can create a huge gap between a couple. So, yes, all that about the fact that you have to know yourself comes with so many factors. How much you love yourself, what are you insecure about? Can you communicate those insecurities? Can you express yourself sexually? can you, indulge and make the person understand you better? So all these factors come together, and if you are really conscious of that, and you can zoom out, your relationship and actually look at it from a bird's eye perspective, you can actually see so much about what you can do more and what you can fix. So I think that is a key to your relationship.
Beautiful. So I'm going to ask Anjali this, but I think it can easily pass down to whoever wants to. Since we're talking about sex and how you actually, last in a relationship, very often hormones change, stress changes, physiology changes. You have highs of sex, you have lows of sex. How would you navigate this in a relationship?
Well, to me, sex is the ultimate climax of an expression of love. Physical touch is important in a relationship, not just to feel aroused, but to also feel safe. Right? So at times, we may not be having a very vibrant sexual life because we are very stressed. But we do want cuddling. We do want to feel, the warmth of our partner around us to keep us grounded. And if that continues in a relationship, the drive for sexual intimacy can rise and fall. But that has to be at a steady. So I always say that, fireworks are good to look at, but you need the warmth of the fire forever.
It's so nice. The sexual purpose is not the act of sex, but it is the touching, it is the intimacy, it is the feeling of safety. That's what you take away from it. Lovely. Any of y'all who want to jump into this?
Okay. So I give this analogy picnic model of sex. Like we all know picnics. Picnic, हाँ. तो हम सब स्कूल में गए हैं, हम सब ने पिकनिक एंजॉय किया है, राइट? एंड द वंडरफुल थिंग अबाउट पिकनिक इज़ इफ़ यू अपार्ट फ्रॉम द गेम एंड प्ले देयर विल बी लाइक एक चादर बिछी होती थी, वहाँ पे सब लोग अपना डब्बा रख देते थे, एंड देन यू सिट देयर एंड यू पिक समथिंग फ्रॉम हियर, यू पिक छोला और यू पिक भटूरा और यू पिक डेजर्ट इन एनी पर्टिकुलर ऑर्डर. देयर इज सो मच टू चूज फ्रॉम. बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू सेक्स, वी हैव लाइक this 3-meal model: foreplay, intercourse, orgasm. Okay, you have to go exactly in the same manner, and
it's a habit. See?
Yeah. So that's where you get stuck, because you feel, if I'm not able to have foreplay, if I'm not able to have after that intercourse, and if I'm not climaxing, then this model fails. So I say like switch from this 3-meal course model, starter, main course, dessert, to this picnic model where there is a buffet. Okay, there is oral sex, there is kissing, there is cuddling, there is spooning, there is lying naked together, there is making out. There are so many sexual acts. Because personally, I'm a sex coach, and there was this joke, my husband's friend, he said, "Acha, sex coach se shaadi kiya na, roz sex hota hoga tumhara to." And I was like, okay. So people have this conception, but yes, we don't have everyday sexual intercourse, but we get sexual every day. So getting sexual is different than having intercourse. You can be sexual in so many ways. One reason couples stop having sex is they think we are not able to, reach this finish goal. So taking away that mentality and bring that mindset that today I'm going to be intimate with my body, with my partner's body, in whatever ways I can and I wish to be, is how you maintain.
Lovely. Being sexual, not necessarily thinking about sex. Any thoughts on it?
I have, maybe it's slightly different in perspective, but I feel over a period of time from your 21 years onwards, or whenever you start having sex, and in India it is as young as 14 right now, you'd be surprised that is the average age of sexual behavior starting. From then onwards, to discovering your sexuality, what you like, what you don't like, to get into your relationships. And then if you have a long-term relationship, to have, sustain that entire process, I feel sometimes your libido is not matching, can bring about different kind of wants in your, how you want to conduct yourself in a bedroom. And I think you should have a partner to basically be open to that mindset of exploring each other in that process. So maybe in your 20s, you were, doing it like bunnies. In your 30s, it's a little more meaningful and intimacy sets in. You want to explore each other more on an emotional level also whilst having sex. And then moving on into your 40s and your 50s, again, libido's physiology can change. Men can have certain issues at that moment of time. You have to deal with that consciously, knowing that there will be ups and downs in that process. And if you can do that with your partner consistently and from time to time check in and say, what can I do for you differently? Or what can I do now for you? Or what do you think, is floating your boat at this moment of time? Those conversations are very important to tickle your, toes, to start a spark, to try new things. And who says, one yardstick is, by which sex goes? You can try so many things. You can try, toys, you can try role play, you can try so many, various aspects of sexual behavior. And I think that's beautiful to explore with your partner. So again, find those shades, and I think you'll have a really fun time.
Lovely. Okay, it says time up. One last question to all of us. What is one relationship habit that you would suggest everyone take on? Okay, each person can ask. Pallavi, you go first, then Anjali, then Karishma.
One relationship habit, I'll say have fun. Have fun in relationship. I think it just keeps it easy. Make fun on each other. Make fun of each other. Make fun of yourself. When you learn to be light.
Respectfully.
Yeah, so when you take yourself lightly and, you are ready, if someone makes fun of you and you take it sportingly, then I think you become light in relationship.
Beautiful.
So I believe, starting to become a child once again with each other. And we all have so many unfulfilled dreams and desires, or we were controlled as a child, and just being able to express yourself completely makes a relationship truly intimate and lasts forever.
Amazing.
I think not judging each other. I think from there we start. No matter what choices we make, keep that zone judgment free. Understand each other's perspective and what we're trying to say, where it's coming from, whether it be conditioning, whether it be upbringing, whether it be how you brought up, all that take into consideration. I think this is where it would be more meaningful.
Beautiful. I think I've learned so much from this. I'm taking definitely like 3-5 tips from the entire conversation here. You all have been a fantastic audience. Thank you so much for coming on the panel. Time's up.
Thank you.
In the
Thank
interest
you.
of time, we're going to end.